Hey guys, I would like to show you my African violets, and I shot this video over 4 months. And African violets are also known as Saintpaulias, and this is actually from Africa and mainly from Tanzania and Kenya. So based on my research, I found out that African violets are one of the best flowering houseplant. It will give you this nice, beautiful, tiny velvet like flowers throughout the year if you maintain them well. I have 4 varieties now. So I have the violet, red, blue, and pink. I have only the solid or single color African violets, but there are plenty in the market which is bicolor with a dark border or light border African violets, and also there are everfloris African violet which grows throughout the year, and there will be flowers all the time, and they are also bigger. Instead of 4 inches pot, they are grown in 6 inches pot. There is also a type of African violets which never blooms, so it's called never floris, and it, as you can see, it has only the green buds, and this is mainly used for decorations and things like that. So African violets are popular because of they can thrive very well in the room temperature and also in the dry weather because of their thick leaves. Look at the instructions carefully which comes with your African violets plant. So this needs to be put into very well lit room during daylight hours, and these plants can grow to 4 to 6 inches in height and 12 inches, so it's a feet wide, and the temperature must be 50 to 80 degree Fahrenheit or 10 to 26 degrees centigrade. So I decided to see how they do when they are put together in a 6-inch pot. So I planted them, transferred them into a 6-inch pot, 2 at a time, to see how they do. African violets can also survive in relatively low light than other flowering plants. So I mainly keep them next to my window. It prefers indirect sunlight, but even indirect sunlight. So don't put them into direct sunlight, otherwise it's gonna hurt or their leaves become too dark when they are exposed to too much light. I didn't water them properly, so these flowers dried up, and you cannot make out whether these leaves or the plant African violet needs water. So I thought they are doing well, but when I checked, the soil was completely dry. So make sure you water them well. So ultimately I got my white African violet. I was looking for a long time in all the stores, but they didn't have it. So luckily I got this today from Lowe's. So this is the complete white ones, and it's almost dying. Some of the flowers are already drying up, but anyway I got just this one, so I bought it. This is now transferred into 6-inch pot, and it looks really awesome. See how beautiful it is, and the color, it is actually a sparkling white. I don't know whether you are able to see it here, but it actually sparkles like a pearl. So I have placed in here along with the other African violets, but as you can see, since it is 1.5 months, the pink, blues and purple, those are actually died, so I took them off with the buds. So as you know that these are designed to grow in 4-inch pot, but I have placed 2 in 6-inch pot, another 2 in 6-inch pot, and this one, the white one in the middle, in the 6-inch pot. But since they don't do very well in a larger pot, and they stopped flowering for a month or so, as you can see, so I decided to put them into their original 4-inch pot, and African violets will bloom when they are kind of root bound. So they need to be in the smaller pot. This looks beautiful. I water these plants from the bottom, so I add water on the saucer, and once in a week. Do not add too much water because they don't like too much water, and soggy soil, so the soil has to be little bit of drier side but moist. And also make sure do not put any water on their leaves, and these African violas don't like any water on their leaves, and the moment you have some water drops on the leaves, you'll see these white spots, so that's not good for the plant. So make sure to add water from the bottom. As you can see, there are couple of birds coming up, plenty of it. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, a lot of them. So this is doing really well, this African violets, and this is the second bloom in less than 3 months, so this is pretty good. When you see any dry flowers, you pick them up, and also the stalks, if they are dried up, just remove the stalks, and this may trick the plant to have more buds, resulting in more blooms. If your African violets are not blooming after a while, then there is a problem probably on the light, so you need to move them into a well lit area but not under direct sunlight, and you will see this bloom in a month or so. So these small buds will come out. I use all purpose fertilizer, water soluble, once in 2 weeks, so twice in a month, and I always use it on 15th or 30th of the month, so it's easier to remember. I don't have to recall when I last used the fertilizer on these plants. And there are, however, you will get special fertilizers specially made for African violets that you can use, where you can add fertilizer every time you water the plant. So cut the strength of the fertilizer to half, read the level, and this is called the constant feeding. So African violets may give you a best results when you do the constant feeding method. So this is the second bloom in less than 2 months in this white African violet, so this is doing pretty good. You can very easily propagate African violets by cutting a mature leaf, and I've covered the entire propagation over periods of month in my video, which I put on the link on the video as well as in the description. And it's very interesting. If you'd like to propagate African violets, check the description, go to my video. So I'll encourage you guys to have African violets. This is pretty easy to grow, less maintenance. It thrives very well in the low light. It can, if you maintain well, it will bloom year round, giving a beautiful environment in your room. So if you like this video and if you think it is helpful, hit the like. Also, if you have any question, let me know by leaving a comment. So best of luck growing your African violets.